Speaking from P2B's point of view, he blasted the judiciary. He said they are uninspiring. Do you think the judiciary is uninspiring?
From what we can see, we can tell whether it's good or not. If you see things that are good, you know it's good. He said something just now. He said the law prevails. But you said something. You said the law is for the people.
That's right.
The law is not anti-people.
That's right.
The law is not against the people.
That's right.
The law is supposed to create a balance where both the rich, the average, and the poor can find a place that is synchronized and everybody will be happy.
As a matter of fact, it used to be the hope for the
common man. Then in politics we say that the law, nobody is above the law. But what we find these days is that some people are above the law and they can dictate to the judiciary, which is supposed to be independent of the other arms of government
or any person.
Any person. You see, let me tell you something. In America right now, they told us, they said, even the legislation is not the best. That the hope of the American people is that the law can void what the executive order brings.
That's
but
right.
in Nigeria, it's no longer the hope of the common man.
Okay, Philip, let's get a little bit more legal about it. Obi said, if there's anyone that had hope on our judiciary, it was P2P. Because one, he became governor through the courts. You understand? Even this last election, when the followers were like, oh, let's do something, as he said, no. I trust the process. I trust the judiciary. But Obi, that same Obi is now saying the judiciary is disgusting and uninspiring. Where are we headed?
Well, you see, yeah, Obi made the statement he made as to where, at the level of his understanding of the law. He made this statement regarding the judgment of the Supreme Court as affect Rivers State. Be that as it may, the law is an axe. You operate from both sides. The court does not know what is your mind. The court can only adjudicate on what is presented before the court. Okay? Right. In the case of Rivers State, where Obi is making this allusion is that matters were brought before the Supreme Court as regarding the office of the Houses of Assembly, who is a member, who is not a member, who can pass budget, who cannot pass budget, who are to be local government chairmen, who are not to be. Right, those were the issues before the court, and the court adjudicated on them and made pronouncement. I agree with Obi that the judiciaries of this country are not inspiring. There's no doubt about that. But again, we must bear in mind that the court are the product of the society.
That's right.
So it is, and also it is what comes before the court that the court will adjudicate on. It is not only when Obi was speaking, it doesn't rely on it was not specific on the court alone. Yeah. He said the three arms of government in this country are not it at all.
Yeah.
They are
and why people are most focused on the judiciary,
yes,
is like they are the ones that controls and balances the activities of others. And that is why people are now even adjudicating that judiciary itself needs to be balanced. You understand? If your job is to create a kind of control for me, who controls you? I think it's high time somebody has to, or agency, or another part has to control.
I want to comment on what he said.
Okay, I wanted to ask you. Okay, go ahead.
He said that the judiciary is a product of the society. Yeah. I agree with him. But in this respect that the system has become absolutely corrupt. That the judiciary, number one, the process of putting people in the judiciary,
but the society itself is also corrupt.
If I said the judiciary is the product of the society, so that's what you are saying.
Yeah, exactly.
In the manner to which you are saying it, as in the court in itself, if you blanket and say the judiciary is corrupt, I will agree with you in all ramifications.
Yeah.
But if it comes to the extent that let's look at how the judiciary got corrupted and how they too have followed suit to try to remain in that level, there Yaradua's time, we didn't see the court like this. People hoped. People like, what's his name? Oshomole. They saw the judiciary.
Because they were supposed to be the men of substance.
Yeah.
They were selected.
Exactly.
Knowing that even though the society is corrupt, these people are supposed to be those above the board.
Exactly.
These men are not above the board.
No, they are not. It's in the process of selection. For example, now you can't just be employed in judiciary arm if you don't know anybody. And mostly as a judge or magistrate, you cannot just go there. You cannot get promotion through the ranks. It has to be through these politicians. And when you get in there, you serve their bids.
Okay, let me, Philip, let me just say something. There's this famous justice from America. He's an old justice in America. I think he's a politician. He also served as a lawyer. He served in American Supreme Court. There's this famous quote with him. He used to say, "We are not final because we are infallible.
Yeah.
We are only infallible because we are final." Supreme Court is not final. Supreme Court justices are not final.
No.
Simply because they are infallible. But they are infallible simply because they are only final. That said, he said opinion continues. But this is a final judgment. It doesn't mean this is the final reasoning. It doesn't mean it's the final things that could have happened. Do you think the opinion of the Supreme Court in this case kind of lock up further reasoning from the final judgment?
Well, we have had it before in this country. And again, it's also in Rivers State.
Yeah.
In 2007, when Amici eventually become a governor of Rivers State, Amici was not on ballot paper. It was the first time the judiciary, the Supreme Court, made a grievous mistake. This is to my mind.
That's right.
And I voiced my mind out that, look, election was conducted in Rivers State. Omeha flew the flag of PDP.
That's right.
And other people flew the flag of other party. And you said, oh, Amici is the candidate of PDP. When the electorate went to vote,
Omeha,
there was no name like
Amici.
They voted Omeha and PDP, and you substitute Amici for Omeha, and then you make him a governor. When those of us were saying it, they were saying it because they are Supreme Court. At the end of the day, they went through the back door and said they said it is part of the contest election.
Yes.
But later they went through the back door that somebody must fly a flag of a party. This country is a terrible country. That's why Obi said that they are uninspiring. Again, Kogi State, there was an election conducted.
They worked against them.
Yes. Adu Abubakar was standing for election. He died in the process of the election.
And he had a deputy.
Yeah.
Forget
even the party. Let's talk about the party in this case.
Forget
about the deputy.
Forget the deputy.
He had a party.
A man who dies with his vote and everything he has.
Yes.
The only valid vote that was for Idris, who is the PDP.
Yes.
So the court turned blind eye and said the person that went for primary under APC that came second became governor.
Yes.
That's how they made Bello a governor of Kogi State.
And now,
you see, and now this is Rivers State for us again. You said somebody who came on national TV to say that he had defected.
That's national TV. That's what I wanted to call.
The man he had not defected because in law, because there's no proof, no evidence.
So
no
national,
no,
that's what I'm coming. Let me pick it. National. So me coming to national TV to make a statement is not a proof.
No,
it's not a proof, but a record. But when you take my audio record, you say it's a proof. Then I have come to national, both audio and video.
That's where I'm coming to. That's why Obi said it's uninspired. When you say that, is it the final reasoning? You see, this is where Obi anchored his statement.
Great, exactly. See, let me say this clearly. I do agree that for those who are lawyers, law of evidence, you can see textbook as big as this.
Yes.
But if my statement on national TV, my statement here today, that people are going to watch, is not an evidence. A legislator coming out to say something substantial that I'm moving from here to here, you can now, the Supreme Court will now defend that person, that what you have said, you didn't say again. What country are we in? So what amounts to evidence?
what they think is evident in their own imagination.
What they say, they're no longer law.
No.
So it's not less about their thoughts.
It's no longer law.
No,
It's no longer proof.
you see, the thing is this: the law of evidence is a very
It's
a serious law.
serious issue.
It's the bedrock of law.
I started by that. Yes.
So you see, the thing is this: oral evidence cannot stand a documentary evidence.
So which one is higher?
So documentary
but television,
so it's black and white.
Yeah, but
in most cases, yeah.
But in any case,
Yes,
television is a doc.
I'm not done yet.
Okay.
Television do televised drama, art, show. So would you say those are clear?
No, this is a legislative work. They were not in a party. They were not in a party. They were not in a burial ceremony. They were not in so they're not under duress.
Is it material? When it comes to the law of evidence,
No, Philip, hold on. Philip, do you know why it's material? The resources of Nigerian people, you see all the money spent in paying lawyers for this litigation. None of them came from their private enterprise. No. Do you want me to probe them? This is the resources of the people. It is material. All the time, the tension, the fighting between Fubara followers and the wicked followers is material. Because they are playing games with the people.
Let me help you. No, hold on. Let me ask a question. If it's a drama series,
that's right.
It's titled.
If you walk into a cinema.
So let me help you guys.
Now, if you are putting up a quote or an evidence,
let me help you guys here.
Like we are doing right now.
Let me help you guys. You see, this is what you suffered when you borrowed other people's caution.
That's right.
That is why the Senegalese present government is saying that everything must go back to the African way. You know, if it is an African way, when you swear an oath before Ogun or Shango, that this will do this.
You like this thing a lot.
You will not go back. You will not go back to say that it was a drama. But because they borrowed the caution, that caution, that's how they behave there.
Yes.
So and we are doing it better than them. So if you was to go back to your African
I will do it better than them. You know, the word corruption. If you go to our local language, we don't really have the word corruption.
No.
It's a Igbo thing.
Yes.
And we picked it, and of course, like you said, we do it better.
Exactly.
So how do we rescue our own? How do we get to form a government? People are saying that this democracy, we need to do it in our way. We need to have a way of creating better checks. What we say now, there is not enough checks for judicial. No. In most places, it's probably enough.
Yes.
But because of who we are, how do we domesticate our own democracy?
You see, let me. When I saw the charade of people that came for IBB's book launch, and everybody was laughing as if it's a joke. Everything was a joke.
Yeah.
I laughed. This one, I wrote something. I said, truth on trial.
Yeah.
The truth actually was on trial. What we can see, you are telling us that it's not real. I mean, that's a.
It's a truth on trial.
We crossed the line.
Get it. I do understand the reasoning that we have flogged it here. That Fubara cannot continue to be above the law.
Yes.
You have to have all parts of River State fully represented. You can't be ruling the state with four members of the House. I mean, that's not how it should be done. But the Supreme Court has option of fresh election. They have option. It doesn't have to be these people. When you have defected, you have defected. A fresh election can be conducted. Yes, Fubara cannot continue to rule the place with just 4 persons. Now, Obi being really angry with the judiciary, legislature, and even the executive. Yes. But why we picking judiciary is because it used to be the hope of the common man. If this hope ceases, how do we make progress? Philip, time is against us.
Is there any hope for the judiciary in this country? The hope has ceased long ago. So there's no hope. Because I overheard somebody saying that, look, how do we show that the vote we cast is what we're seeing? Because the man who returned Akpabio is 7J term. Meanwhile, the man he returned, whose election that they claim that he ring, that sent him to jail, is president. So there's no hope for anybody.
Well, there's something Philip used to say.
Yes.
He normally says one good head.
Yeah.
But now I think it takes more than one good head.
No, I've always said that one good head that is ready to build the system. Because when the good head goes, the country continues. You only need the system to sustain the country.
If you say one good head, probably maybe the president we have found out that the president doesn't have all those powers.
Yes.
From the judiciary, we have members of the Supreme Court that I think about 6 or 7 of them have to sit to decide a case. We also have the House of the National Assembly, where you also have the Speaker and the President of the Senate.
Yeah.
They are all good heads. If we can have half of these people plus the President saying that, look at the way forward, maybe things will be right.
Okay. One good head
Who is
in
ready?
all the agencies that is ready to build the system. And I've always said myself that our problem is our value system. Value system, our reward system, our punishment system.
That's why I say we should go back to Ogu.
Yes, our punishment system, reward system, and what we call anything. Success without work, how do I call it? Kind of flaunting words that you can't substantiate how you got, and taking what belongs to others to add to yourself is the fundamental route that we have to go. Unfortunately, those we brought at EFCC, the judiciary and co, and checkmate all this nonsense, INEC that should be independent, have all fallen under the weight of this same corruption. We just hope we'll get better. Philip always said, one good head. Hopefully we'll have one good head at the judicial, or some good heads at this time, so that P2B cannot no longer say our judiciary is uninspiring.